Hello and welcome to a walkthrough. This is going to be a long form video where I kind of take you through what I'm doing at this activity, whatever activity I'm doing. And today we are doing Tempoross. Absolutely love a little Tempoross. I want my little Tempoross pet here, so I'm going to be showing you what I consider to be, it's like kind of my consistent solo method with no firefighting. So that means you're not having to pick up or drop buckets or anything like that. You just basically do the exact same thing every single time. You're not worried about any weird strategies where you're having to like click off at a certain amount of time. You just follow the flow of the game, very much like Tempoross itself, you know, a water-based thematic, you know, experience for you there. So what we're going to do inventory-wise, I'll just review it here. We got 3 buckets. I'm always going to have 3 buckets. I'm never going to take them out of my inventory. I'm going to have the angler's outfit. That counts as a rope as well to save me inventory slot, a humidify, and a hammer just in case. So let's go ahead and run down here. So we're going to run down and start harpooning our harpoon fish. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Tempoross, it's a very cool little mini game where you basically get these harpoon fish and you either cook them or put them in raw. It sounds really wrong. Into the cannon, and the cannon shoots this guy that's going to come out here, and we're trying to damage him. And yeah, that's basically what Tempoross does. It's got a lot of cool little fishing rewards. It's a really good fishing experience. It's actually with the crystal harpoon, which is a high level harpoon that it does a lot of cool stuff. Basically, let's not get into that. But the point is it's very fast experience. It's actually the fastest without doing tick manipulation or tricking the game into thinking you're doing a shorter action than you actually are to make it go faster, which is allowed. It's an allowed mechanic, but it's very click intensive. Whereas this, it's intensive. You have to pay attention, but it's not intense. I would consider it active gameplay, not intense gameplay. So what we're doing here is we're basically going to the first fishing spot, and because we're at a really high level, I'm not really worried about any like technique where it's like, okay, we get like 8 fish or 9 fish or 10 fish, and then we go to another fishing spot, or we start cooking, or we basically fish and fish and fish, wait for the double spot to show up, go to the double spot, fish and fish and fish, then we cook at the shrine. That's what we're going to do every single time. And what we're going to do here is it matches up perfectly with the fires coming down. So that's part of why I don't try to do any strategies to speed it up, because I want to make sure that I can hit these on the way out. Because sometimes what'll happen if you're not careful, and sometimes what'll happen if you're not careful is you'll actually you might actually run through the fires, which is no good because that's going to destroy your buckets and your fish that you just got. 2, sometimes what'll happen is I'll actually finish before the fires land. I'll run up here, I'll put my harpoon fish in, and then I'll actually kill Tempoross before he summons his little wave. And then what happens is now, actually, and I think that's what's about to happen here, we killed him so fast that he wasn't able to summon his wave. So if we hadn't put those out, we would have had to deal with a bunch of fires raging down here. And like I said, I don't want to deal with like picking up tons of buckets. I'm just trying to get through it, just really basic. Fish, cook, fish, cook. That's all I'm trying to do. And when I see 3 fires, I just put them out, no matter what. And if I need to, you can see this little thing right here. We might not have to use it. It's just a reminder that if I see the fires and they're about to come down, to not skip them, to just wait for them to land, because it'll only take me an extra like 5 seconds to just wait for them to hit and then put them out, and it's going to save me a world of hurt in case those types of inconsistencies happen where, wow, look at that, we deposited stuff so fast that it skipped the big wave. So then you can see here, well, what we're doing, because we're doing the solo method, and again, we're not firefighting, because I don't personally like it. I think it's kind of inconsistent. It's not that fun. You have to pick up more buckets. But what we're doing here is we're actually skipping the first stage, and we're just immediately going to the harpoon fish and fishing them. And we might actually, we got pretty good fishing speed right here. We got pretty good RNG for this fishing speed here. So we may actually finish fishing before the double spot even shows up on the second round. And it looks like actually, okay, and there it is, like right when we did that. That's hilarious. So we're gonna start cooking these, and they're going to have a little tether thing really quick here, so I'm going to make sure we grab that. And so what's going to happen is we're going to cook these, and pretty much right at the end of us cooking these, the fires are going to come down. So that might be an opportunity for me to show you guys the island stall. But as you can see here, it's really simple, this solo style, and of course, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm using the infernal harpoon, so some of them are actually cooking. Like 1/3 of them are automatically cooking, which is going to change your timing. You don't really even have to worry about island stalling at all if you're doing it without an infernal harpoon, because the timing is such that, and as you can see here, like, look, we could skip past these, but we're not gonna. In fact, we're just gonna, we botched our humidify when we were running down, so we're just gonna humidify, wait for these to land, and go bonk, bonk, and bonk. The question that I do ask myself sometimes with the infernal harpoon is, if we're having to wait there for those fires to come down, and we wouldn't have had to wait there if we had had a normal harpoon, is it worth using the infernal harpoon? And the answer is, I'm not sure if it is solo. In groups, it's worth it because you're trying to basically, it's almost like you're competing against the other players to do as much damage as possible, right? So the more effective you are, the more cooked fish you have, the more you're doing, the more XP you're getting, the more reward permits you're getting compared to everyone else. Whereas when you're doing it solo, you're kind of going at your own pace, which means you could probably go at your own pace for the boss itself. So it's like, if you really want something totally mellow, you don't want to think about it at all, just use a normal harpoon. Use a normal dragon harpoon, and it's cheaper too. I mean, the smoldering stone, the first time you buy it's like 7 mil. After that, you can recharge it with a harpoon, which is like only 1 mil, so it ends up being pretty easy to recharge. But yeah, I mean, that's just how it be. Sometimes you gotta stall, and I think maybe once I get up to higher fishing, it might get pretty annoying. Like 99 fishing, if I was doing this, I might have to stall a lot. But I mean, it's like you can really do this pretty brainless style. And as you can see here, as I'm blabbering away, and there's our double spot right there. So let's go ahead and hit that. I skipped hitting the pool for the first round, which you never want to do in groups. You always want to hit the pool every single time. Because it's just me, I can skip that first pool and not have to worry about anyone stealing my pool XP or points or anything else. And then we harpooned on the second one. That's what we just finished doing. And now this is our third wave. We have to finish now on this third wave, otherwise it will end. It used to go to 5. It does not anymore. So, and then let's tether here. So basically, we're going to finish getting this last inventory. We're going to cook it. We're going to deposit it. And you can see here the essence is 42%. So we have the energy and the essence. So the energy basically is what is, it's kind of like the shield for each round. And that goes down with our fish. And then the essence is what happens when we actually harpoon him, right? So the idea is basically it only really takes 2 rounds to kill the Tempoross once his shield is down. That's it. So we wait till the second and third round to extend it as long as possible, because every time we leave, we have to leave the thing, then we have to wait 30 seconds to go back in. You know, we have to wait for the round to start, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it's just better to kind of do everything at once. And here we're kind of risking it for the biscuit here. Sometimes I like to do this. So if you time this well, this is probably a good example of when the infernal harpoon is really good. So you can see we actually managed to finish our inventory in such a time that the fires weren't able to spread. Now, the fire up here spread, but, you know, most of the time, they're not going to be in front of the cannon like this. That was just kind of unlucky. But even then, we were able to humidify on our way up, and we didn't really waste a lot of time. And, yeah, I mean, and we would have had to, even if there was only one fire, if it was in front of the cannon, we would have had to do that anyway. And let's go ahead and go here, and hopefully, sometimes it'll be, I mean, it'll still work out, but sometimes it'll happen where you'll kill Tempoross as you're tethering, and it'll kind of cut down on the time that you have to go down and kill him with the essence. But it should be 42% essence, even though we're like sitting here filling it all up. And again, you don't do this in groups. In groups, the moment you see him go down like this, you want to go down in there and get it. But because we're doing it solo like this, I'm trying to take advantage. I'm trying to build it up as long as possible, right? So I'm just letting it do all those harpoon fish. Every time I deposit that, that's another 100 XP, right? So I'm trying to get that XP as well. Otherwise, that's just wasted time. And then look at this, like he's at 52% shield, his shield is regenerating, you know, if it gets to 100, we lose because this is going to be past the third round. And like, it's not really even going to be close, you know? It's closer than you might want it to be, but like, it's not in the 90s, right? It's like, okay, it's like a pretty solid, like, okay, Oh, as I say that, it's going to go 91 there at the end. And that'll happen to me sometime. That's why I changed some of my methods for when I'm doing it with Crystal, which is a whole other thing. Because I would actually end up losing on that third round by like 1%, trying to like cut it too close. And that's why I like these consistent methods, because we don't have to worry about that. We just do the same stuff every single time. And yeah, you can always just use like a normal harpoon as well. So you'd want to use a dragon harpoon, but yeah, I feel like that's like the really lazy brain, like literally just like do it almost completely AFK. And you know, so that's 9 permits and 8 minutes 17. So that was pretty good actually. Normally I get it closer to 9, but yeah, like 60 permits an hour around that. Like I don't think that's too bad, especially like for me not having to do firefighting. Like don't like firefighting, so I love doing it like this. And then it looks like, oh, we did everything. So yeah, nice little haul there. We're building up our spirit flakes so that we can get the heron thing. Let's see how many we have right now. 200. Ooh, baby. Wow, okay, so that's so close to being able to recolor our heron, and then we can just start collecting those, and we can use those for fishing whatever high value shit that we want to fish. So yeah, all right, well, that's kind of been my walkthrough. We're talking fast, we're getting stuff done fast, but that's because there's a lot of stuff to go over in just a little under 10 minutes here. One of my favorite bosses in the game. I'm going to do some more real tutorials and 2-minute guides and things like that on it. But that's kind of my walkthrough for what I would consider like a very consistent high level, I mean, not max level, but high level technique where you're just really focusing on consistency and, you know, not having to manage your inventory too much. Slash at all, really. All I do is refill the buckets every single time and I keep going. So I've done this for hours this way, and my Tempoross KC is still not that high, but I actually did a lot in leagues, like I think 100 in leagues, so it kind of feels like I've done a lot more, about double that. But anyway, I'm a run. I'm not gonna run. I don't go outside. Okay, bye.